Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are drawing near to the end of the Russian destroyer line as we take our very first look at the Tier 6 Russian destroyer Minsk. So with that being said, let's look at our commander. We are running Vladimir Trubetskoy. We have Eric Bay and Jerzy Swirsky as our commander inspirations. We are running Observant Rage, Look at Me Now, Twist and Track, Smoke on the Water, and Unstoppable. I know this is by no means like what a lot of people would run, but this is my particular build for what I use it for. We are also running Aiming System Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, and Concealment System Mod. We are fully upgraded. And our stats, we are running the Community Contributor Flag and Camo. We look up, we've got 15,100 hit points. We have 5 130mm main guns, 11.8 kilometer firing range with a 4.6 second reload time, and a 20.7 second 180 degree turn time. The 180 degree turn time is slow for destroyers, but not utterly useless. So it's not horrendous, you can work with it. HE shell damage of 1900 with an 8% chance to set fires, and AP shell damage of 2500. We look at our torpedoes. You have 8 torpedoes, 533 millimeters. They reload in 98 seconds. They have a 17,933 damage, 1.3 kilometer detectability range, a 4 kilometer maximum range, and a 70 knot top speed. The AA defense, you have 8 37 millimeter 70-Ks, 46 damage per second, 3.2 kilometer firing range. And then you have 76 millimeter 34Ks, which you have 3 of, and they do 7 damage per second with a firing range of 3 kilometers. Maneuverability, you got a maximum speed of 43 knots, turning circle radius of 690 meters, and a rudder shift time of just 3 seconds, meaning this thing is very, very shifty, which comes in handy when you're open water kiting, which you do a lot in these Russian destroyers. Concealment is 98 with our commander inspirations, all that stuff. We've got it down to 5.4 by surface, 3.2 by air, 2 is always guaranteed, and 2.8 kilometers while firing in smoke. Armor, you have 16 millimeters of plating pretty much everywhere. And of course, the center of the ship is where the vital stuff is. So there's that. Alright, so sure shot. Shells with a good ballistic trajectory, maintain velocity, making aiming easier. Fast, above average maximum movement speed, but exposed. Below average concealment, the ship is visible to enemies from a greater distance. But with our build, we've pretty much negated all of that. We've got our concealment down to usable. Like, I like to charge right at destroyers with twist and track, get them detected before, or like they detect me, and within a second or two they're completely detected as well. And in a gunfight, it's not really much of a chance in most ships to fight a Russian destroyer. Even though these earlier Russian destroyers before the Tashkent aren't as good as the Tashkent. So I'm looking forward to the Tashkent. I'm glad I'm done with these other ships. Minsk, the ship was developed as part of a series of Soviet destroyer flotilla leaders created under Project 38. She was built as a modified version of the destroyer leader Leningrad, retaining the same distinctive features like powerful artillery and a very high speed. She entered service in 1938, and there were 3 of them in the series. So let's take a look at her. I think it's a good-looking destroyer, to be honest. There aren't a lot of good-looking destroyers out there. Like, a lot of the destroyers are meh, but the Russian destroyers actually have a pretty good look, or at least this one does. I like it. I like the superstructure as well as the 2 angled stacks. I kind of like that a lot. The guns leave a lot to be desired on this ship. They're not terrible, but they're not as amazing as you'd hope for in a gunboat. But yeah, the torps, just forget you have torps most of the time. So let's go ahead and jump into the gameplay. Alrighty, so I'm going to be in the Minsk, and I've got a little bit of a double feature for you guys. Mainly because I don't think one game in by itself really kind of shows everything that I can get with this ship. Yes, this ship is capable of doing higher damage games than you're about to see. But I think the two games that I'm choosing to show you guys showcase the ship pretty well on both sides. So hopefully you guys are ready. We're going to get into this. Now, we're on Sleeping Giants in the first one, which is technically the second match that I played today. The first one I'm going to show you afterwards, because I think it's the better match to showcase the ship itself. But this first one's just going to kind of showcase what the ship can and can't do as far as its strengths and weaknesses go. And the same thing will be in the second video as well. But I really do think that this ship is better than a lot of people give it credit for. But at the same time, it's not one of those ships that you're going to see put up barn burner games all the time. And I think the reason for that is there's a lot of people out there that can put up those kind of games, and they're usually the kiting fire starter guys that just sit out there the entire game just dumping on everything. I'm not that kind of guy. I tend to be more goal-oriented. My first goal in a match when I'm in a Russian destroyer is to find and locate and destroy the enemy destroyers. That's my #1 goal. And then after that, then I start worrying about where we can help capture bases and so on and so forth. And that's where we're going to come in. Now, I completely forgot that this was a carrier game. So early on, you're going to see me do something dumb and completely pay the price a little early on solely because I goofed up and forgot that there were planes above me currently. Now, we got pretty lucky we weren't detected already, but we are located. There are 2 destroyers. One is a Benson, one is an Asasio. And we're about to find out the hard way that they're both running together even though they are not in a division. So these guys just happen to spawn next to one another, and instead of splitting up and helping their team win that way, they decide to stay together and potentially, I don't know, help their team win this side is their goal. Now, Asasio comes out. I've been detected because I fired at the Dallas, so he had to drop on me. And we get a good first salvo, 1,700 damage. We reload before him. The Asasio's guns are slow at reloading, but they hit hard. They hit real hard. And now we've got a Benson shooting us as well. So time to drop our smoke, turn out, and try to disappear here. Just don't want to give these guys too much of a chance. We've lost a little over a third of our hit points, so we don't want to do anything too crazy. And we take another hit there, unfortunately, after we were already disappeared. Now, we did try to torp the Asasio in his smoke, but I think he kept going just a little bit more than I thought he was going to, and the torps ran out of room, which is unfortunate. But that's the problem with these 4-kilometer torps. They're absolutely horrendous for anything but what I'm going to use them for in a little bit. So keep that in mind. Now, I've already lost a third of my hit points, a little over a third of our hit points. But I'm 8 kilometers from a Dallas, and I am not afraid. Why am I not afraid? Well, first off, I hit him really good and get a fire immediately. But I'm not afraid because I know this thing is really shifty. Watch this. I mean, it's literally as easy to dodge the incoming fire of the Dallas as anything that you're ever going to find. And when he's broadside, he's giving me beautiful angles for armor piercing. And he's shooting armor piercing back at us, which is hilarious because, I mean, I'm not afraid of his armor piercing at all. He's going to do basically nothing to me with his overpins. But you can see, not the best shot in the world here. Again, haven't played a lot in this ship, so I'm still a little green when it comes to shooting him. And he is turning towards me, which is also throwing my aim off a little bit. It took me a little longer than I would expect to realize this. Now, remember how many people are shooting us. We've got the destroyer shooting at us from their smoke screen. We've got the Dallas shooting at us. We had the Scharnhorst shooting at us out there. So there's a lot of fire being focused on us, and that's where these Russian destroyers really come into their own. You can save your team a lot of hit points by just being out here being shot at. Serious. I want to see what other people have managed. Like, I'm sure there are people that main the Russian destroyers. I would love to see what your average, what is it? The, crap. Potential damage is. Or what your highest potential damage in your ship is. If you main it, if it's the ship that you play the most, let me know down in the comments below. Also, while we've got a moment, we're going to go back to trying to torch this Dallas and potentially shoot armor piercing at its broadside here in a moment. But one other thing that I want to mention, everybody, I've been getting asked a lot by people if I'm going to do the giveaway. If I'm going to do the giveaway, everybody else, all the other CCs are doing the giveaway. When am I going to do my giveaway? And I've already given away one thing, but you guys didn't know about it. Unlike most people, I don't like to put the giveaways in the title or the thumbnail or anything like that. It is because I like to reward the people that watch my channel all the time. I don't want to just draw in a few people that wouldn't normally watch my channel solely because they want a chance to get something free. That's just not the way I do things. So for those of you who watch every day, keep an eye out. If you leave comments, because obviously I can't do it. I do it randomly. I can't do that if you don't leave a comment. But as long as you leave a comment down below, you're entered into a giveaway for one of the next two. We've already given away a Tier 4 ship, which the person ended up choosing the October Revolution that just came out, the new Tier 4 Russian battleship. So I'm going to let you guys choose the ship that you get. We still got one Tier 5 and one Tier 6 to give away. Now, I'm going to try to get out ahead of this guy. The battleship here is unfortunately going to be taking torpedoes from these. I didn't get out in front of them quick enough. It took me some time to get back here. But you can see all the people shooting at him. I don't want to give my position away by shooting at the battleship right now because these guys are sitting in their smoke screen, and this is a beautiful opportunity to get rid of two birds with one stone. And sure enough, they are both right next to one another in this smoke screen. You can see it. Just watch their shells. That's two different destroyers sitting in there firing their guns. So I'm going to estimate the distance. You'll see me aiming into the smoke screen a couple times on the way in to kind of figure out how far I am from them to make sure that I'm going to be well within range. And then we drop the torps at two different locations because we're expecting to hit two separate ships. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is absolutely fantastic. And what should happen to any destroyer who sits in a freaking smoke screen and sits there and fires their gun like a numbnut. And we get the double strike, knocking out both their destroyers in one shot. So that's what I was hoping would happen, and we got fortunate in the fact that that's exactly what they deserved and what they got. It's just one of those moments where you're just like, guys, what did you think was going to happen? You know I'm still out here. You know there's another destroyer nearby. Just because I'm not spotted because you're sitting in the smoke not spotting anything, you think that you can sit there and fire your guns forever and not get obliterated. And so we managed to take those guys out. Now we go up, we're dropping our smokes, we're trying to finish these guys off, and we're shattering everything off this Normandy, which is something I did not expect to happen. But Scharnhorst, not going to have the same issues with him. As long as we hit that superstructure, we're going to be doing some damage to him. He says as he shatters 3 rounds off the side of the Scharnhorst. Come on, Spartan, learn to shoot! There's 1,200 damage, and that's about what you're going to get every time you hit something with this, you know, 600 damage. It's like 300 damage a shell, usually, that goes off. So you get 4 or 5 hits per salvo, you're going to be getting 1,200 to 1,500 damage. But we're going to keep shooting the Scharnhorst. We've got nothing to fear, honestly. He's worried about the other people closer to him. So we're going to keep shooting him, but we're also turning in towards the base to help our team cap this base because we're not guaranteed at this point to win this the other side, even though it's looking like we're going to win. But yeah, we're just trying to help our team win this side, get this base capped as quickly as possible. Our teammate up here in the battleship's going to be able to finish off the Scharnhorst, I believe, on the next shot. We do switch over to the armor piercing to see how we do there, and you can see we're getting 400 damage per hit with the AP rather than the AG. So a little bit better trade if we can get more shells to hit and pin. And there we go. We get a much better shot that time of about 2,000 damage. And just about the time we start really getting the damage off of him, he gets finished off by the teammate. King George finishes him off with a fire. So yeah, we're going to go ahead, hit the afterburners, try to get up in here into the cap. And our team is going to be trying to finish off the last remaining cruiser, which is a Dallas on the other side. Now, that's the one thing that I will say about this ship, and the Russian line in particular, is it's very good at getting everybody's attention. So if you're a decent player and you can dodge incoming shells, sitting out in the open, pulling everybody's fire on you will help your team win. Even if you're not as eager to get into the caps as other destroyers necessarily, because you get spotted much easier. And up close and personal, while this thing can be very, very good, it also doesn't have the hit points that the Tashkent has, that the Kaaba has, to deal with that incoming fire. So that's the trade that you got to make. Okay, so this first match, we had a pretty solid game overall. Got the double strike, which was fantastic. Taking them down, ended up 2,231 base XP, top of the leaderboard. Probably wouldn't have been top had I not got that sneaky base cap there at the end. But, you know, is what it is. This one's going to showcase more of the going straight at the destroyer. We know he exists. Going straight at the destroyer and helping our team try to win our side. Now, unfortunately, you can't fix stupid, and there's plenty of that to be had in this match. So keep that in mind. And you could say towards the end as well that I screw up as well. So keep that in mind. It's not all about me all the time. Sometimes I make mistakes, and I like to call them out. Everybody calls me a harsh critic of everybody else's gameplay, but I'm actually harder on myself than anybody else. So, you know, it is what it is. I know when I make stupid mistakes. I know when I make unnecessary trades that you don't need to make. I've been playing the game for over 2 years now. So it's one of those things that I should know better, but sometimes I still get in the moment, tunnel vision, get caught. It happens to everybody. I'm not the best player, never claimed to be. But, that being said, I'm far from the worst player, okay? And we're going to get up in here into Alpha right off the bat, try to get the base cap early. Now, we've already got Twist and Track running. We know there's somebody close to our right side. It's a normal spawn. It's not that big a deal. But we're going to miss out on an early opportunity to get some damage because we're trying to help our teammate. And that's something that I do more than most people, I think, in Destroyers. I tend to help my team more than any other Destroyer player I've ever seen in my life. And that's probably because I'm a Battleship main, and so I'm used to not getting any support from anybody, and same thing in my cruisers. So, yeah, we miss a little bit of an opportunity here. Could have shot him a little earlier, probably, had I not looked over at the Atago what is that thing called? The campaign ship. I can't think of what it's called. The Susia. That's the one. But we drop a smoke screen for the Susia, and unlike a lot of people who would just sit in that smoke screen and shoot at the battleship the entire time, I'm not that dumb. And we managed to spot those torps, or they were spotted by the Hydro possibly. We are proxy spotted right now to the Blizzy. The Blizzy's sitting around the corner waiting for us. And here's where I kind of screw the pooch on this first salvo of torpedo. I fire the first set too early. I should have held on to it, because he goes from reverse to forward, and if I'd have held that held the first salvo, I could have had a much better spread and had a potential chance to knock this Blizzy straight out of the fight immediately. But us trying to twerp him is going to force him out of his smoke. He comes out and he wants a piece of us. Well, that's not the worst case scenario either. Everybody else on his team is far enough away that they're not going to be able to help him too much, and we're going to be able to try to rip this guy apart. So as we start pushing away, you can see, wait for it, any moment now we get lit up, and there it is. He comes out of his smoke at 4 kilometers. We're lit up, he's lit up, everybody's going to have a bad time, but he's going to have a real bad time, because it's not just me. There's a Susia and a battleship right there to take advantage of him popping up. And so we're going to be able to try to take him out, and just as we go to finish him, the Susia takes it, no problem. And then we slow down to try to stay in the cap. We're not spotted, there's nothing inside our firing range, so we're able to break contact immediately after he dies, and now we can try to get inside of, or stay inside the cap, get this base capped, and hopefully get some extra points. The bad news is I already wasted my smoke screen helping a teammate. Is it a waste? Not really, because at the end of the day, with Jean Bart against us out there, that Susia was able to get rid of that destroyer for us. So it's not really a waste. He wouldn't have been able to sit there and help with that guy had I not dropped that smoke screen. So you got to keep all of that into consideration as well. What could have happened or would have happened had I not dropped that smoke for that cruiser who decided to overrun the island and take off. Now, I thought those shells were coming for me, and I was about to be upset, and that's when I realized there's a battleship right next to me. So that's good news. But we are detected now, so we're going to try to hit this Vladdy, see if we can't finish him. Not going to get a whole lot of damage. He's already on fire twice. And we've got the torps out there. He's turning into him. All he has to do is take one torp, and he's done. So we switch fire back over to the Hipper now. and we get the kill on the Vladdy. So a little bit of a trade. I don't get to kill the destroyer, but I managed to help kill the battleship. So there's that. It's not really that big a deal to me, either way. Now we have 2 battleships that are charging forward. We got 1 battleship hiding in the back, and we've got the Suzia out wide trying to help with the Jean d'Arc. And all of this is going to play into how this match ends. I'm shooting at the Hipper because it's the easiest target for me to damage. So I'm going to try, and it's also my biggest threat over on this side of the map. So if I can manage to get rid of this Hipper, then we'll be set. Now the Hipper was initially going to the right, and so at this moment I'm like, okay, I'm going to head across in front of everybody and get into the B-cap. Okay, this is where my plan starts to go awry. After planning to disengage and head to B-cap, the Hipper comes out and he forces me into an engagement. He's inside my detection range, but he's broadside on. So I load the armor piercing, which I didn't have loaded yet. I load the armor piercing, we're going to reach out and touch, and we get 1800 with the first salvo. We're looking for those citadels, but the turtleback armor of the Hipper is going to hopefully protect him, which is not good for me, but we still hit him for like well over 3,300 damage, I think, in that last salvo. Like, we're getting good damage. Now, I waste time by shooting freaking torps at him, and then I'm able to finish him on the very next salvo. But that's going to keep me lit up for this Amagi for quite some time, and the amount of time that I stay lit up here for this Amagi is disgusting. This is not what I want, because those are 410mm guns, and he has 10 of them aimed at my broadside. And if we hadn't been broadside, I'm fairly confident we're dead right there, because those would have ripped right through the front of my ship. But because we turned sideways, we managed to hopefully negate some of the damage using overpins. But he still took a big chunk off of me, and that is going to cost me this match. You'll see in a little bit. So our Balti is about to make the dumbest play I've ever seen a Balti ever make. Like, he is 1v3 right now, and that's just the ships that we can see. 1v3, and he's just going to sail right into everything and die. Like, doesn't even give himself a chance. He takes torpedoes, and down he goes. He could have easily mopped up that Munchkin. The Munchkin. He could have easily taken out the destroyer, and he could have easily killed the guy that was behind him, which is the Atago. The Balti is a fantastic cruiser, especially against other cruisers. There isn't a better cruiser against other cruisers in the game, period. I don't care who you are. The Balti versus other cruisers is a death sentence for that cruiser. But he threw his ship away. And that means I get to deal with the aftermath, which is an Atago, a Tashkent, and a Munchkin coming into the base after me. So I'm going to drop my torps. I know I don't have the range to hit him, but I'm hoping that he changes course to come back once he realizes that my teammates are actually going to be shooting at him. Okay, so keep that in mind. That being said, I go ahead, I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's going to be spotted shooting at my teammates, I'm going to drop smoke, I'm going to load the armor piercing, and we'll see what we can do. We get 3 citadels on the very first salvo, and then he gets immediately finished by the Poltava, which is real unfortunate for me, but at the same time, he's down, and that's what matters. And we potato it out of the cap, which means instead of having the cap flipped and giving our team the advantage, which is going to come in really freaking handy here at the end of the match, I roll away from the cap because I am now being chased by an Atago, and I know that there's a Tashkent out here. Now, right now, my gun or my twist and track is pointing not at the Atago, but to the left of the Atago on my screen, which means that destroyer's out here and he's closer than the Atago. So any moment, I'm expecting to pick up the Tashkent, and sure enough, we do manage to pick him up. Now, I've been holding my fire. I don't want to fight this guy, and I definitely don't want to fight the Atago and the Tashkent at the same time. It'll be lucky if I can manage to take out the Tashkent, but I figure if I sit here, and sure enough, Atago gets absolutely wrecked by the Poltava, which is absolutely fantastic. And because the Atago goes down, the Atago goes down, I start opening up, and this is one of the most disgusting displays of not marksmanship that I've ever seen or done in person. Like, I have nothing to say about this. This is just bad shooting by me. And because of that, we go from having the drop on the guy to actually getting killed by the guy and needing one last salvo as we die to finish him off. but we do finish him off. Now again, don't end up with the most damage in the game or anything like that, but we did some pretty key things. We got rid of both of their destroyers. We helped spot and get 2 cruisers off the match. 3 if you count the Hipper. So we've done a lot of good in this match, even if it's not reflected on the scoreboard so much. But the end of this match is just disgusting in all the wrong ways. Now, we've already talked about the things that we did wrong. Now it's time to focus on our teammates who are still alive. This Poltava is going out and charging 2 battleships when we have a points lead. He doesn't need to shoot. He doesn't need to engage. And it's his indecisiveness and inability to look at the scoreboard and recognize when he doesn't need to do any more to win that's going to cost us this match. If you don't consider me potatoing out of the cap after the Munchkin dies part of what contributed to our loss, because had I captured that base, we win this match. That's plain and simple. If I captured that base, we win this match. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. So this Poltava's out here on an island. He's trying to go into reverse now, and he's going to make all of the wrong moves. He sits here for a while. He finally gets the ship into reverse. What he needs to do is put an island between him and the bad guys. Simple as that. The Tirpitzes have the right idea while we still have the lead. Just keep yourself out of harm's way, and we win. But this Poltava is just not going to be able to do anything about this. He continues firing his guns. He's probably well within being detected whether he's firing his guns or not. So I don't mind that fact so much, but the Nelson goes unspotted here. I don't know what his detection range is on his Poltava, but he could have reversed to the left, tried to get behind that island. You can see he's still being fired at, but that could have been because he fired his guns. It's hard to tell. But you can see that the Tirpitzes are being shot at as well, and this is where I'm saying, like, these guys could have done this differently to win this match. The Poltava just backs up in a straight line. He's not trying to dodge rounds. He's not trying to get himself to a better location on the map to keep himself from being hit. He had ample time to do it. You can see how far he's reversed. He could have been on the back side of that island by now. On the left side. He could have literally reversed to that island. He'd have been around the corner very shortly and would not have died, costing us this match. But you can see, once they both start focusing him, he's not long for this world. And so, yeah, it's definitely not what you'd call preferable. But everybody makes mistakes. Again, had I done anything different there in the middle, had I not left myself get obliterated by the Amagi, had I managed to stay in the cap and get that capped while the Munchkin was dying, I was afraid of the Munchkin's freaking sonar. That's what I was afraid of. He lights that up. Even in my smoke, I'm a dead man. If I can't finish him quick enough. And sure enough, Poltava goes down to the Nelsons for ridiculous HE. And that means that we lose this match. Unless these two manage to pull this off. Which they are fully capable of doing. At the end of the day, these are 2 Tirpitzes. Okay? They have 2 sets of torpedoes each. However, they're not going to pull it off. They're not even going to come close to pulling it off. Actually, I say that. They come close to killing the Amagi, but they both die doing it. Which is fantastic. What they should have done is charge straight at the Amagi who's coming at them. Straight at him. But they needed to do it sooner. Right now you have less than 2 minutes to go. Torps don't get there immediately upon pulling the trigger on Torps either. So you've got to leave yourself enough time. You knew that the Poltava was going to go down. He didn't do anything to keep himself alive at the end. So you knew he was going to go down. We needed you guys to push out at that moment. Okay? And that would have allowed either the Poltava to stay alive a little longer, because somebody would have had to focus. I mean, there's 2 Tirpitzes charging. The guy's attention would have been pulled from the Poltava, and you would have had a 3-man assault going for that front battleship. But again, it's not what happened. So these guys play around. This Tirpitz is going in reverse. He's got the most hit points. This guy has no hit points. So the moment he comes out, he should be dead. The Nelson can easily kill him. You can see his superstructure's not even saturated. Hasn't been hit a whole lot. So I'm assuming he should be easy to kill. But that's not what ends up happening here. The 20K Tirpitz on our right is going to get killed first because he turns full broadside in front of 2 battleships to drop his torps from 6 kilometers when they would never reach the target. They're not going to reach the target in time. Plain and simple. And then they're both spamming HE at the Amagi, which you think about is probably not a great idea, but at the same time not a horrendous idea either. You're going to set those fires. You're going to be able to take him out, hopefully, if you both survive long enough. But because you go broadside to launch your torps, down you go. 10 410mm guns, doesn't take long. And then he manages to come around the corner. He goes to launch his torps now, and you can see those torps may make it, but I don't think that they would have made it, and they're definitely out in front of him. And then the Amagi finishes him off with just 4 seconds left on the timer. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know this wasn't the high damage games you guys are used to, but 1500 XP and a loss with 3 kills isn't too bad. And I think it showcased the strengths of the ship and what I personally use the Russian destroyers for, myself. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.